the Fueled by Death guest.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, gearing up. It's finally here again. It's crazy. The season lasts for 16 games, and it feels like it's gone in a blink of an eye, but then it's back in a blink of an eye. I think it's a testament to all of us getting a little too old. And the years are going by too quick.
I think time moves a lot faster than we want it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that the season's not over nearly as long as it seems like everybody else, because I know my vacation goes really fast.
Yeah.
So I'm not nearly off as long as I'd like to think I am.
How long does a vacation last for you?
We usually get 5 to 6 weeks off. Basically, we are done after the second week of June, and then we typically come back like the third week of July. It all depends on when your first preseason game is, when you determine when you come back. So it's typically like that, beginning of the fourth week of July. So when you come back, so you're anywhere from 5 to 6 weeks, depending on when you finish your off-season program to when you have your first preseason game. So it's a pretty decent chunk of time.
Yeah,
but I know it goes by fast.
Yeah, so. Totally.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in football? I know you've now coached for a bunch of pro teams and college, but when did you actually start getting into the game?
Oh, well, actually, getting into the game, the first time I got into the game was as a 9-year-old. I played youth football, but I was your classic fat kid when I was younger. So I could make the weight when I was 9, and I never made weight again until I got to high school. So I played when I was 9 and did not play again until I was high school. I was that fat kid that could never make it. So I really got into it, though, in high school. I hadn't played in a long time, but I've always had a passion for the sport, and that's when I got into it. And I actually chose the high school that I went to because, hey, they got a football team. I want to play football, so that's where I'm going to go, because I was at I don't even know what you call it, a school that was from 7th grade all the way through 12th, and they didn't have football, so I left after the 8th grade from there to go to a school that had football. So that's when I really got into it, and obviously things turned out well for me. I mean, had a little bit of an up and down career as a high school football player, broke my arm and didn't play my junior year and things of that nature. And then come back my senior year, and I gained like 20 pounds. Like, you're a lineman now. So I had a good senior year, got recruited, wound up, getting a college scholarship, and, kind of went from there,
Who was your team when you were a kid?
You know what? I'm going to say this, and I'm going to catch some grief. Growing up, when I was rooting for college football, college football, I, for some reason, liked Michigan, growing up in Ohio. I did not really like Ohio State. I think that had a lot to do with my dad didn't like Ohio State, but we were right in the middle of Ohio State country. I think we liked Michigan a little bit more because for some reason my dad really liked Bo Schembechler, which was some foreshadowing in my life. Bo Schembechler is also from a little town just outside of my hometown, like 10 minutes outside of my hometown, so there was a little bit of a connection there. Growing up pro-wise, I was torn, and once again, it was a weird conflict in the fact that I grew up in the heart of Cleveland Browns territory, so I liked the Browns.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, the Steelers were winning Super Bowl, terrible towels, all that stuff, so I kind of liked the Steelers. I couldn't say it out loud. So, I had but once I got to college, I kind of threw out any allegiances, and I purely became a fan of the game.
Yeah.
And I'm that way to this day for different reasons.
Yeah.
But I'm a true fan of the game. I just love the game of football and everything about it. And so, like, people ask me now, 23 years later, what are your teams? All of them.
All of them.
Except the team I'm playing next week.
Right, exactly.
That's the only team I don't like, that I refuse to root for, that I hope nothing good happens for. But like college football, I could watch every single game right now today and find a reason to love the game, whether it be, hey, I know a guy coaching on that staff, to, wow, I really like what they're doing on one side of the ball or the other. I really love what they're doing. I want to watch this, to, hey, that college town seems like it's got a great game day environment. I'm going to watch this. Or even pro games. I've coached enough players that have gone on to other teams now that I can't watch another team that I'm not, and go, oh, I don't like them. I always have a reason to like them or want to pull for them or root for them. So for various reasons, I'm just a fan of the game. I love football. I love everything about it, and I don't know what I'd do without it.
I think that's the best attitude to have in any sports, like, and it's funny that you brought up, like you liked specific teams because of your dad. And I think that's a normal adage, like a lot of kids see either their father or their uncle or someone who is into the sport and they kind of gravitate towards that. But then you make your own, decisions as you grow older. But even if you are a diehard fan of a specific team, if you don't love the entire game, then you're doing it wrong, because that's the whole point. It's a sport first and foremost, I mean, loyalty's obviously great.
And I think that's why everybody likes to tune in for the Super Bowl, is because that everybody knows that's going to at least, more often or not, going to be like a really fun, entertaining game to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
No doubt. And that's the thing about it is I've been coaching now. This is my 23rd season coaching now. Mm-hmm. And it's funny when, whether it be even college football or pro football, the fan bases that have grasped that mentality of the true passion for the sport, whether it be the spectacle or the actual sport or the combination or whatever, there are certain places you go to as an opponent that you go, you know what, it's going to be okay today because even though they got a really good team or whatever, it's going to be a hard fucking, at least they got a knowledgeable fan base, and it's not going to be one of those games like, I hate the fans here. All they do is just, because like when I was coaching college football, we played in Nebraska, and it's a really weird environment. The fact that there's a ton of people there, which is not unusual, but they walk you through kind of a bunch of fans coming out to the field. You go out there, they kick your ass, and then walking through at halftime, they're like, hey, I mean, they're being genuine. Keep fighting. This is a heck of a game. You guys are playing your butts off. I mean, they're like, you're like, hey, hey, thanks, man. They're giving you like words of encouragement. It's almost like it's like a reverse psychology thing. You're like, okay, they got to be, but they're being genuine. Green Bay fans are really knowledgeable of the game. Yeah, you go there and they got a really good team, and you almost like you hate going to places where they have really good teams. So sometimes their fans are jerks, but Green Bay, they're super knowledgeable. They understand the game. They love the game. I mean, Green Bay is probably not one of the top 10 tourist destinations in the world, but, the people are there for a reason. They're there for their Packers, and it makes a great place to go and compete. And that's what, when you're coaching or playing, that's what you're going to do is you live for the competition. Yeah. And when you go to in somebody else's backyard and they're knowledgeable and it's a great environment and it's a great energy and there's a buzz in the stadium, there's not a better arena to compete in than that. So that's why there's certain places, like you said, they kind of get it. There's certain coaches that get it. There's certain players that get it. There's certain fans of certain sports that get it. But it's awesome when you put them all together and you go place on place and everybody gets it, and it just makes it for just an absolutely electric environment. And that's kind of why you do all the crazy crap we do to coach or play in this profession.
That's awesome. And
what would you say, out of all those awesome stadiums, what's like, if you had to name one, your favorite stadium to go to?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I really probably I'm not gonna regret saying this, but people are probably gonna be a little bit surprised. It's not even a pro stadium. It's college. I tell you what, it's pretty crazy to go down to LSU in a night game. Oh, I mean, if you're a bucket list guy, that's got to be, if you're a fan of just sports and you're putting together a bucket list, I'd say throw that one in there, because that's a pretty hair-raising environment, man. It's nighttime. They have crazy tailgates. They're passionate about their Tigers. It's nighttime, and it's just the way the whole thing goes, from their entrance music to them coming out in their whites at home, and just it's got to be awesome being in the stands to watch that. Now there's probably another 8 or 9 I could name in college football, but that one just has always resonated with me, of just the game day environment. It's been pretty crazy. I also heard that South Carolina go to their game in the entrance, at least, of was it 20 something 2012 Space Odyssey. The music
Oh my gosh.
comes on and they turn out all the lights and the fog machines kick on and these guys are coming out to black strobe lights. I've heard that one's a pretty cool one too. But for me, it'd probably be LSU night game would be probably the best place to take in a game.
That's crazy. Like, what a spectacle. Like, a lot of teams like make it out to be. And you, to kind of go back to what you were talking about, you know, fan bases and stuff like that as well. And you are the current tight end coach of the Oakland Raiders, and talk about fan bases. The Raider Nation is one of the best in
the world.
Yeah, so rabid, so best. Amazing. How cool is it? I mean, cool is probably even a lower word to use, but what is it like to be part of a club like that has a fan base that's so rabid?
It's surreal, to be honest with you. I mean, I cannot, in a brief amount of time, nor probably accurately depict you what it's like to be involved with it. They are, bar none, the most passionate fan base in professional football. And I can say that without batting an eyelash. And that's not because I'm here. I've thought that when I was on opposing teams and had to play against them.
Yeah.
It's just the total package. It's just, there is not a fan base that represents the identity of a sports organization more so than Raider Nation. We can go to any team, play against any team, go to any stadium, and they are representing hard. They're repping hard, and it is. And people know they're coming.
Yeah.
And there's like this. Al Davis always wanted that. His image of his team was a band of misfits, bullies, just tough guy. It was basically, hey, give me all the land of misfit toys, and I'm going to make an NFL football team, and we're going to go out, we're going to kick everybody's ass. And that is what the fan base is. It's like, hey, if you don't have a team that'll take you because you're just a little too hardcore, come root for us. And
Yes.
You'll fit right in. And it just goes, man. It's just like, it just works. And the first time I got a glimpse of it was we were going to play our first preseason game, I think it was, my first year, 2015.
Okay. And
the office is just over by the airport, which is not too far from the stadium. It's a couple exits away. There's a strip of hotels, right between the highway and the airport where our facility's at. And it's like Thursday. It might have been Thursday. Yeah, Thursday afternoon. I'm driving home, and like there's cars backed up out into the streets of the hotels. I'm like, it's Thursday, man. This can't be because of the game. And I'm driving back like Friday morning to go back to the office, and there's still lines. It was the people all flying in from L.A., Vegas, from all over to come to this game, and they were hitting town early, and then it turned into a long weekend.
Wow.
And it was just like, are you shitting me? For a preseason game, the fans are like this? And when we beat the Baltimore Ravens in the last 2 minutes of the game in that same year, it's the first time as a coach I've ever been someplace where I was coaching for a team that when we scored, the stadium got so loud I couldn't hear over the headset.
Oh my gosh!
Wow!
And the place is going bananas.
Wow.
I'm trying to talk to our assistant line coach in the booth, and we couldn't hear one another.
Oh my gosh!
Derek had just hit Seth Robertson in the end zone on a 2-minute drive to go win the game, and the place went absolutely freaking bananas.
Oh my god!
And it was like it truly gave me goosebumps. It gave me goosebumps. I was like, this is the first time in the NFL I've ever gotten goosebumps over something. This is just game number 2 of the season. So they're awesome fan base. They're behind us 100% of the time, no matter where we go. Doesn't matter if it's Mexico City. It doesn't matter if it's Green Bay, Wisconsin. Doesn't matter where we go. They are there and they're repping hard, and they're intimidating. I think there's some other fans that get a little psyched out. Like, I don't think I'm going to go to the home game this weekend. I think the Raiders are coming to town and their fan base is a little too out of control. I think we're going to stay home and watch this one on TV, which happens a lot.
That's crazy.
So, pretty cool. Cool, man.
That's really neat to be a part of that. You know, what a spectacle. You know,
it's got to be electric, man. That's insane. That's insane. So you mentioned Mexico City. I wonder, as a coach, with cities that are such high elevation, do you train differently for situations like that? From
an X's and O's standpoint, no. We're not going to scheme different plays, or things of that nature. but we do alter, and we don't alter it just for that game. When you have something like that come up, the sports science that's involved at this level anymore is out of this world. I think most people, the common fan would be alarmed, even shocked at the level of sports science, whether it be the training, the nutrition, the rehabilitation, things of that nature that goes into playing this game once a week, is up there with any profession. But when it goes into a game like that where you're going to train at elevation, one of the things that helps us is we already play a game at every year in elevation to protect the Broncos.
Right.
So we already train from a strength and conditioning standpoint for that. However, the altitude in Mexico City is even higher than that. So everything just happens a little bit quicker. We just start our preparation for altitude further out.
Gotcha.
So what we do is the things that we do, which I don't want to go into great detail because it's a little cutting edge.
Yeah.
But what we do, we just start it further out. So what we'll do, instead of saying if you're going to prepare for a game like that and you start your altitude training 3 weeks out, we start ours further out, whether it be 6. To be honest with you, what we do with our guys, because we do play one altitude game every year, is we start with a little altitude training each week from the beginning of the season on, and we just kind of crescendo up to peaking prior to those altitude games.
I think that's...
So we just treat it, go ahead.
I think that's got to be the smartest way to do it, though, because, I mean, you're so worried about your players getting hurt, going from altitude to low to high, and everything. So, I mean, from you telling us that you're spending that much more time, I think that's got to be much more safer for the players.
Right. Well, part of the thing with altitude is, one, it's a cardiovascular conditioning thing, which is why we start further out. You want your guys to be cardiovascular fit anyway, but we start further out. I think what I found in my experience is when you start it too close, all of a sudden it becomes a bigger mental hurdle for the players. They're like, "Whoa, you're right! Oh my God, we're going to altitude.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Now when you start further out, they're just kind of like, "Okay, I'm training for this, not a big deal." The other piece to training in altitude is hydration. Well, because anytime we play east of the Rockies, we leave an extra day early to adjust the time zones and things of that nature. Yep. But one of the things that helps fight jet lag is your hydration levels. Right. You're really supposed to be drinking a bottle of water every hour that you're in the air. So we are a team that we are super hydration conscious. We're constantly overhydrating our guys probably, but that's a good thing. And so that's the other piece of the altitude training, is making sure you guys are super hydrated. So those are things that we handle on it. So like I said, most of the things we do from a training aspect, we kind of incorporate into our program all year round, and we peak it when we need to peak, and you pull back when you need. But the thing is, none of it's all of a sudden introduced for a particular game. It's just part of our regimen. Right. So it's not a big. So when our guys get to those things, they're like, not a big deal.
Yeah, they're confident. They're ready. They have the experience.
Very much so.
Yeah, they're not freaked out. They're ready to go. Yeah,
very cool.
But I will tell you this: the one thing we did find out is, from the field in Mexico City to the locker room, is a haul. So we have a joke on the coach staff. We need to start training today because there were quite a few coaches that were doubled over, and we still had like a quarter of a way to go back up to the locker room. We have to start training for that Mexico City halftime run, because it's got to be like a half a mile.
Holy moly!
Oh my God!
So we have some bad shape coaches, man. We need to start training now.
So NFL has actually been implementing this in the last couple of years. The aspect of international play, playing in England, playing in Mexico City. Do you think this is good for the sport? Is to widen it into an international kind of arena?
I look at it this way. I mean, let's not kid anybody. As much as I love the game, and as much as excited I am to be in the NFL, and as much as this was a goal for me, that the NFL is a business. And it's in the business of making money. Yeah, and that's one thing that, if you look at all the sports entities, in our country, the NFL is probably the best at making money. It's got it figured out. And right now, the league and the owners are basically printing money. Anything they touch turns to gold. And from that aspect, it's great.
Yeah.
because they're making money.
Right.
From a coach's standpoint, we as coaches by nature, we're grumpy. We're routine driven.
Yeah.
If you like a routine, you want to stick to your routine, and nothing breaks your routine more than traveling internationally and playing the game.
Right.
I've had the opportunity to do a couple international games, and to be honest with you, maybe I'm just a little bit different. Some people say I'm crazy. I tend to speak my mind. I will say things that people in the room are thinking but are afraid to say. And I'm a free spirit. That's how I live my life. And to be honest with you, I'm like, hey, I approach it with a positive attitude. Like, hey, there's always going to be something we can find something to complain about. So whatever, let's just deal with it and move on. I said, and hey, I'm just a poor kid from Akron, Ohio. Who would have thought I was going to be in London, England because of football?
Right.
Or, hey, who would have thought I'd been in Mexico City because of football? I had a chance to go coach, in 2 football clinics in Japan for a week at a time way back in the day. Who else would have thought a kid from Akron, Ohio, would be, coaching football in Japan? So I think it's a great for exposure. For if you love the game, you want it to be. You want everybody to love the game. So I think it's great exposure that way. I think it's the NFL has done a wonderful job marketing it and getting what they want out of it from a financial standpoint and exposure standpoint. I think some coaches like myself appreciate it because of the opportunity to travel. Players, I think it's probably 50-50. I think they like the fact that they're, a lot of them probably take the same approach I do. Is a lot of them probably come from, a lot of them, let's be honest, come from disadvantaged backgrounds that probably would never gone to London, England, or wherever because of the game of football. And that's really what it's about, is the game of football is providing something to a group of men or people that normally would not have had access to that.
Yeah, totally.
So do I ever think the NFL will spread to those places? Now you're talking about a whole lot of semantics that I think may be a bigger hurdle than having a yearly contest there.
Yeah.
But I think the NFL has done a wonderful job marketing it. I think they've made a lot of money. I think they've exposed themselves to the right markets. Like when we went to play Mexico City, the amount of Raider fans were ridiculous. Well, when they did the demographic studies, the number one fan base for the Raiders are Latino males 18 to 35. Well, there are probably not more Latino males 18 to 35 than in Mexico City.
Correct.
And they were rooting for us.
Yeah.
And, and at some point that's going to be the largest part of the population in the United States. So it seems like they got a lot of people a lot smarter than me figuring it all out. It seems like they got it figured out.
Yeah.
So, I think it's been a good experience. I think they've gotten what they wanted out of it. I think now they're probably at the point where they just need to decide what they're learning from these experiences. If the next step is expanding the league to those foreign cities, and that's just something that they got to decide whether the players will be willing to go along with that, and the coaches, to be honest. So
speaking of this year, actually, and your job as the tight end coach of the Raiders, when you guys go to Mexico City this year, you guys are playing the Patriots, and
yes, sir.
I kind of wanted to ask you this question, because the New England Patriots seem to have this force in the NFL is how I'll word it in the last couple of years. Do you prepare to play that team differently than the rest of the teams in the NFL?
I don't know that you prepare differently. I think you're just aware of the issues that playing them present. Yeah. And what I mean by that is I coached for the Buffalo Bills for 2 years, and so I was in the same division as the Patriots. And there's certain things. I mean, Coach Belichick's going to go down as the greatest coach in NFL history, and I believe it rightfully so. Whether you like him or not, you can't discredit what he's done. Right. You can drum up all these other, Deflategate, all these other, crazy things. Just look at the wins and losses. The man's won and lost. Yeah. Man's just all he knows how to do is win. And he doesn't, to be honest with you, I think he's the best football coach in the history of the NFL. With that being said, you understand a couple things when you deal with that is there's certain things that they're going to do. And they're going to find a way to do them, whether it be offensively or defensively. You just have to understand that they're going to find a way to to execute certain concepts, and you have to prepare yourself defensively to defend those concepts. Conversely, on offense, you're going to have to, when you go into a game, understand that they're going to have a couple of different wrinkles that they're going to present to you defensively they have not put on tape.
Right.
So you have to have, when you put in offensive plays, you're going to have answers for problems that maybe you have not quite seen yet. So I used to work for a coach, Terry Hepner, who passed away. He was a head coach at my Indiana University when I worked for him. He used to always say, have a plan, work the plan, plan for the unexpected. And nothing rings more true than when you're getting ready to play Bill Belichick and his defense is there's going to be something unexpected that pops up. You better be able to have an answer for it.
Yeah.
You better have a solution, whether it's, hey, get out of that play, or, hey, we have an adjustment to this play that will allow us to still do it versus the look they're giving us. So they just really, what they do is they force you to quality control and fact check your work before you go in the game. Because if you have a flaw in it, you have a weakness in your game plan on either side of the ball or in special teams, he's going to find it. He's going to notice it. He may have already seen it on film somewhere, and he's going to try to exploit it. So if you fact check yourself or quality control check yourself and go, ooh, we've been getting away with this all year, but here's the weakness, understand he's going to check it and he's going to test it early.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. And obviously they have the greatest quarterback ever to play too. So it presents bigger. Let's put it this way. If I was coaching on the other side of the ball on defense, my ass might be a little bit tighter than on coaching on offense. You know what I mean? I might be a little more nervous. But yeah, it's you don't prepare differently. I think you're just a little more conscious of your preparation. You don't necessarily try to do things differently than what you've done before. And really, if you're doing things the right way, it's not like you should be more diligent in your work, getting ready for the Patriots. You should understand you gotta have answers for things you haven't seen yet, and that's probably the biggest thing that you do a little bit differently.
So do you think it works to your advantage to play such a skilled team right off the bat? So you kind of like it, you mind your P's and Q's before you even really start to play some serious games.
I think so. I think it's a good litmus test for where your team's at. You know what I'm saying? Because really, they're the gold standard. Mm-hmm. In the AFC, they're the gold standard. And people, don't like to say that because they don't like the team. Right. Well, everybody hates winners. Haters are going to hate.
Exactly.
Now, the haters are going to hate, but I had somebody tell me haters are like crickets. They make all this noise when nobody's around, but when you walk by them, they become silent. That's going to happen when you play the Patriots. You want to talk all this noise when you're not around them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then do something about it when you do play them.
Yep.
Right.
That's the bottom line. So I think it's good because you get a litmus test of where you're at as a team, offensively, defensively, and special teams. You find out where you measure up to the gold standard. I think, too, with the way Coach Belichick and his coaches and his team, the problems they present for you, what it does, it allows you to get kind of, tested early.
Yeah.
Like, okay, here's some things that we're not very good at, and they expose it. So we got to get it fixed because you put it on film. Mm-hmm. And in coaching, you have an adage to your players, hey, you put bad tape out there, you got a bullseye on you for a while.
Right.
Until you get it fixed. So I think it is good you play really good, teams like that early because you might find out, hey, boy, we really tightened that up that we need to fix it. They didn't expose it, or we fixed it before they could expose it, or hey, they exposed us. We got to get it fixed because if we want to go where we say we want to go, and that's to the Super Bowl, we're not going to be able to do it if we don't fix this problem.
Yeah.
Do you
whether
think,
it be a scheme problem or a player problem.
Do you think that's more important than, let's say, building up your players' confidence to play a weaker team and get a win in the column early on?
I think if you ask any guy in the NFL, this is NFL is made up of alpha males who love to compete. Period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You go to the local gym and there's always that alpha male walking around, chest puffed out, waiting for people to go on the bench press if he's ready to go throw down because that's what his gig is.
Yeah.
He wants to compete against somebody. He's looking for somebody to size himself. The NFL is just full of those guys. Not necessarily those meatheads, but alpha males who love to compete.
Right.
And I guarantee if you asked any guy who's truly a competitor in this league, would you rather play a weak team and build your confidence up, or would you rather play the best and measure yourself? And they go, why do I need to build my confidence? I'm already confident. I want to go compete. They would rather go compete. They want to be the king of the hill, and you don't become the king of the hill beating up somebody down at the bottom of the hill.
Right.
You get to become the king of the hill by going to the top and beating that guy's ass. And I think if you asked anybody on our team, because are we a cocky team? No. Are we a confident team? Yes. And I guarantee if you asked our guys out there, hey, would you go rather play the Browns or the Patriots week 1? They go, bring them on.
Yeah.
Just listening to that.
Belt. We want the belt.
Just listening to that raised my testosterone level by a few points.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if you got low T, you ain't gonna last very long in this league. I don't care whether you're a coach, whether you're a player, the equipment manager, or what. You better have your T levels better be right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
make an appointment with your doctor.
Yeah.
They got pills for that.
Yeah.
You know?
So speaking on this season, the Raiders, you guys are already making waves, with your offense and your defense, and you specifically have got some new names in your camp. You're training for that when that starts, like in preseason and stuff. When you've got like guys coming from other teams or new rookies coming into the game. What are some of the obstacles that you have to kind of get over that, like integrating a new team each year?
I would say this: when it's a rookie, it's easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's much easier because you're like, hey, this is the Raider way, all right?
Right.
So figure it out. This is how we do things around here, and I'm not really adjusting to you. You're learning us.
Yeah, he's malleable.
When it's veteran, it's different. One, through the free agency process, you kind of get an idea what type of guy. Obviously, you watch a film and you find out his skill set,
right?
Or you get a pretty good idea of what his skill set is. You make phone calls, you get to meet the guy, so you kind of get an idea of his personality.
Mm-hmm.
But until you get your hands on him, you truly don't know. Is this guy a self-starter? Is he not a self-starter? What does he really know? What does he not really know? You can sit there and watch him on film, but what really are his warts? That's the biggest thing, is find out what he can't do.
Right.
And, I was fortunate this year. We went out and got Jared Cook from the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
And he has been nothing short of awesome.
Awesome.
Nothing short of awesome. He's a self-starter. He's extremely intelligent. He's harder on himself than I could ever be. So it makes it really easy to coach when you got to keep a guy from, beating himself up too much. Like, whoa, hey, that's what I get paid to do.
Right.
Come on,
right.
Don't beat yourself up. And to be honest with him, the biggest thing is making sure that, my first speech with him was, hey, man, you made that play.
Right.
You made a mistake. And my job is to fix mistakes. That's what I do. I fix things. So tell me what you saw. Tell me what you're thinking, and I can fix it. I said, but if you sit there and beat yourself up over a play you just did, that you can't change the past.
Right.
You can affect the future, but you can't change the past. So let's talk this out so I can help you fix it for the future, so it doesn't have to become a problem again. But as far as that's easy to do. That's the easy part of coaching, fixing problems. He's not an error repeater. You tell him one time, he gets it right the next time. The biggest thing is, like I said, help him not beat himself up, and also he is not afraid of work now. This guy constantly wants to be doing something. And it's refreshing to me as a coach who's been doing stuff for 23 years. I'm like, all right, I got to find some more shit for this guy to do.
Yeah.
I got to like, hey, he's like, we'll watch film. Like, hey, they call me OG. From the movie South Central back in the day, Bobby Johnson, the gangster OG Bobby Johnson. Like, hey, OG, watch this right here. This guy gets his outside hand on me on this press coverage. What's the best way to do that? He's tall and he's the smaller DBs. How do I deal with that? Like, let me sit with this for. Let me think about it. I'll figure it out. And then also I'm like, all right, hey man, I was thinking, here are a couple things. Let's try to work on these couple tools right here. Let me give you 3 tools to defeat that. And he's like, well, why 3? I said, well, because if I give you 1, and then that 1 doesn't work against somebody else, then we got to start this whole process over. So I'm going to give you 3, and basically it's like a tool belt, man. I'm going to sell you a tool belt, and you find the tool you need to work in a given situation. All right? He's like, I like that. Where were you 9 years ago? So, we kind of work our way through that of just finding tools so that when the guys go out there, you can be confident. He has been awesome. He wants to learn. He can't watch enough film. He can't watch practice. He constantly wants to be doing something because he wants to be great.
That's
and
awesome.
When you're a coach, that's what you want, because that's what I'm trying to do, is be great. I want to be the best coach I can be for him, so that one day, he can be the best player at his position. And he's been awesome. Veterans, you kind of got to hurdle through learning them and things like that nature. But also, he has a great memory, so he remembers all these different offenses he's been in. And there's times I'll be talking to him, and he'll go, "Do you mean 3 mix?" And I'm like, yeah, that's what you guys used to call, this version of Cover 3 at your old place. Yeah, here we call it whatever.
Uh-huh.
So there's a little bit of a language barrier, because trust me, football is like a foreign language.
Oh, yeah.
When you come from different teams, everybody has a different language. So
I'm sure.
there are times I say stuff to him, and he'll look at me and go, I'm like, wait, where were you coming from? I know that, coach. Hey, did he call it this? And he'll go, yeah, well, that's what this is. So I call it this. And he's like, okay, I got you, boss. I'm like, cool.
Crazy.
So there's a little translation stuff, but that's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Awesome. So you've said it a couple times that you've been coaching now for over 20 years, been in the game for even longer than that. What fuels you to keep going? What fuels you to keep showing up every year and trying to make your team the best that they can be?
It's a combination of things. One, like I said, it's the intense passion I have for the game. I really love this game,
mm-hmm.
and it probably is a bigger than that is the fact that, like I said, I was a kid from Akron, Ohio. That I had two parents, and not the traditional home where my parents were split, but they're both very involved. And they put me before everything else,
mm-hmm.
and we didn't have much, but they found a way to pay for me to go to Catholic school so I could get a good education and play football. That turned into a scholarship. And I had a high school coach that invested in me when he really didn't have to. I had a college coach who spent a lot of time and energy investing time with me when he took a chance on me. I was just some kid that had 1 year really a good high school football to his name. And when I got into coaching, I had a coach hire me that just, I don't know why he hired me, to be honest with you. And he mentored me.
Yeah.
And mentored me in football and in life. And what I've come to love this game is because this game represents just so much for me. It's given me so many opportunities and a life that I never would have thought I had. So every day I come in with the attitude of gratitude that, hey, this game has given so much to me that I can't honestly pay. You can't pay the game back. I mean, I can't pay the people back that helped me get where I am. So what I try to do is come in and be the best version of me I can be every day to give back, and give back to my players and give back to the coaches I work with and things of that nature, because, I love X's and O's and I love, playing the game. I can't play it anymore, but it's just the fact that I try to every day carry myself throughout the day to pay back the game for what's given me. I can't pay my dad back because my dad's passed away. I can't pay him back for what he gave to me. So I'm going to represent, the last name he gave me the best I can every day. The coach I played for and the coach that I coached for both passed away. Well, I can't pay them back, so I'm going to carry myself the best way that they showed me how. So, and to be honest with you, I coach because I want my players to, at the end of the day after a game, I want them to be able to walk up to their sons, their fathers, their brothers, and be proud of what they did on game day.
That's awesome.
So those are kind of the reason I do it. And I want my daughters to be proud of me when I walk off the field. Like, Dad, your team won. Yeah, isn't that awesome? Hey, Dad, can I get a new iPod? No. I just want to, I love the game, and I can't pay it back. And so I try to handle myself every day like, hey, being grateful for where I'm at and, helping my players. I mean, one of my tight ends, Lee Smith, who I've been with him in two different teams now. He's a coach's dream because he's crazy. He's a big, giant, crazy as he calls himself, a redneck, and he just wants to beat the shit out of people in every play. But he's also a father. He's also the father of four.
Aww.
And a great husband. And I just want to coach him in a way that when he walks off the field, his sons and daughters run to him and they're proud of what their dad did, and they're like, because it's got to be cool. Be an NFL player and walk off, and you got your son going, Dad, those two guys are going to tackle you, and you just ran them over. And he's like, yeah, you'll never see one man tackle your dad. I'm Superman. And that's got to be like the coolest shit ever.
Oh, yeah.
You walk on field, and your son's looking at you like you're a superhero, which you kind of are.
Oh, God, yeah. Some football players definitely are superheroes, 100%.
Yeah, so I just want to coach him like, so, hey, man, at the end of the day, he can walk out and his kids think he's Superman. His wife thinks he's Superman. In his mind, you know what? Maybe he's a little bit of Superman. But that's kind of what I do, man. I got to find ways to keep myself going for the long hours, and that's where the Death Wish coffee comes in.
Awesome.
I'm a little caffeine addict.
Awesome.
Yeah. So right now, I've been kind of getting my chops busted around here because I'm one of the few guys that can drink it and not like absolutely go into full meltdown mode. So I just kind of like keep operating at a high level with it. So it's been pretty awesome.
Well, good. I'm glad that we're helping to caffeinate you. Finally,
more than caffeinate me.
Well, good. Finally, I wanted to ask you. Looking into the future, what are your thoughts on the inevitable move? The Raiders, it has been announced this year that the Raiders are going to be moving to Vegas.
We can't talk about the Raiders without the move to Vegas.
Yeah, like, what are your thoughts on that?
You know what? I'll be honest with you guys. Jack Del Rio, our head coach, is kind of when it all went down. He was very transparent with the players and the coach. Like, hey guys, this is. You guys you're not living in a vacuum. You're seeing the news, and you know what? That's a decision that ownership made. And, hey, but guess what? Does it affect us this year? No. We're playing here in Oakland in 2017.
Yep.
Does it affect us next year? No. We're playing in Oakland in 2018. That when it becomes pertinent, we'll discuss it. But until then, yes, it's going to happen. But the stadium's not going to be ready until 2020. So it's not going to affect the 2017 season, so we're not going to talk about it. Now, obviously, we talk about it behind closed doors as coaches and stuff. And, hey, we as coaches, we've learned. A lot of us has coached for a bunch of different teams, and you really, moving's not a big deal to you. You kind of like, hey, you don't always want to do it, especially when kids are involved, but, you go where your job is.
Right.
And this is the longest I've ever been with teams, 3 years. It's kind of crazy because this is my third year in Oakland, and I've been kind of, forced myself into the city, and I live in Oakland, and the vibe here is insane. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I never would have thought it. Midwestern boy. I never lived, west of Mississippi, and now I'm in, Oakland, California, living in the city, and the vibe here is crazy. And it kind of, like I said, the fan base, this team, and this city, I don't know how you separate them because they're the same thing, man. It's like they were made for each other. And is it a shame that it turned out that way? Yeah, in my personal opinion. But when it happens, it's going to happen. And to be honest with you, our fan base is going to make up for the difference because our fan base is going to travel.
Yeah,
and they're going to be there. And so I think that's the biggest thing is it's not going to affect I shouldn't say it's not going to affect our fan base, but our fan base, because of who they are, because they're the best in the league, is going to cover for the loss you lose with the city. Yeah. So I'm kind of I hate to see it just because I see how passionate the city is for the team.
Right.
Yeah.
But I also understand this. What I said before is the NFL is in the business of making money.
Yeah, it's a business.
And that's what's going to make them the most money.
Yep.
And, how's it going to be when we go to Vegas? I don't know. I mean, Vegas is crazy. I try to stay away from it. But, I'll find out. I mean, it seems like maybe that the degenerates that are in Vegas may be a perfect fit for the image that we'll see. I think it may work.
I was just going to say that I don't think there's a team in the NFL that would be a better fit for Vegas than the Raiders.
It's perfect.
Exactly.
Like 100%.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, deep down, the players and the coaches are probably sitting there going, when we do move there's no state income tax, so that's like a 13% raise right off the top. So, so I mean, we'll see. It's just coaches and players live so much in the now that I think it's hard to predict how it's going to turn out. I think right now there's a lot of people that are being naysayers because their feelings are hurt. I think, but in the long run, I think it probably will, like you said, it'll probably work out just fine.
Yeah, and you definitely have the right attitude because, I mean, you need to be focused on this season, which is starting, next week and when this episode's coming out, and that's where the focus lies. And who knows where you'll be in a couple of years? Who knows? All the players, the coaches, everybody could be changing hands, changing teams. The great thing about the NFL is even though it's only 16 games a year, there's so much that happens, all year round. With
no doubt.
It's
no doubt.
It's quite the game to be a fan of.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They want to make it a year-round event, and trust me, as NFL, we'll find something for you to watch, cheer about, tune into all year round.
Totally. Well, thanks so much for taking time to talk with us. Obviously, fans of the Raiders can follow the Raiders all over on social media. Is there any of your own personal social media that you might want to shout out? Do you do any social media? if people can
I do
follow
a
you?
little bit of Twitter. I'm more of a retweet and like guy, but at Bobby Johnson, all caps, and actually the O's are zeros. So that's about what I do.
Okay.
The biggest thing, the reason I'm on some social media is really I have 2 teenage daughters, and they know that I stalk them.
Yes.
And I'm not ashamed of that. But with all those guys who might know my daughters, Maddie Johnson and Livy Johnson out there, just know this, young man, I will be stalking you as well if you show up on any of their social media.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
And I am 6'3", and I am 260 pounds, and I still am very active. So
that makes me sweat.
Yeah. So, and I'm all hopped up on that Death Wish coffee. So no Hunt will let I can go for a while. But no, I just do a little Twitter, man.
Awesome.
But it's been awesome. I appreciate you guys calling, and hopefully you guys can I can treat you guys to the Buffalo Bills game when we come to town.
Yeah.
You guys can make it that close by, but I'd love to have you and get a chance to meet you face to face. But it's been awesome. Great. I appreciate you guys asking me to be on. Hopefully I wasn't too boring.
Oh no, man, dude, it was awesome, and obviously best of luck to the entire Raiders camp this year. As from one fan of the entire game to another, I'm just excited for the season. Like you said, I mean, obviously I'm rooting for you and your team, but hoping that the entire season is exciting. So.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want some good football. I want some competition, and I just want people to enjoy the game, man. And so I'm glad you guys are fans of the game. That's awesome. And if you ever have any questions, anything I can do to help, do anything for you, just short of answering any fantasy football questions. But if you want some inside scoop on some opponents for fantasy football, give me a shout, man. I'm your guy because I'm a former fantasy football head. So just let me know how I can help.
We've got our own fantasy league in Death Wish Coffee, so I will relay that information to the head of the league, and we might be hitting you up.
Bobby Johnson, thank you so much, man. You are the man, and you are inspirational, and you are highly intelligent. You can tell, and it's very interesting to listen to you, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate it, guys. Anytime, man. Anytime.
All right.
Look forward to talking to you soon.
Have a good day, man.
Cheers, man.
This has been Fueled by Deathcast, a Death Wish Coffee Company podcast production. Thanks for listening.